Picture this. You're playing Pokemon Go. You're walking around, you're spinning your stops, you're having a good time, when all of a sudden, you can't spin the stop anymore. It's just not working out for you. Chances are, you just met the upper limit of your bag space, and it's time to clear some items. On the topic of clearing items, there's some debate, some uncertainty on what the upper and lower limits of each item are. Like, how many of these do I want to throw away? Or how many of these should I hang on to before it gets ridiculous? Well, I'm here to give you some recommendations. This isn't going to fit the bill for every single player. Based on your location, based on your play style, you're going to value items a little bit more differently. I'd say the most difficult recommendation is how many Pokeballs, Great Balls, and Ultra Balls that you want to hold on to. Now, if you're a Go Plus, Go Gacha player, then you're going to want to have some Pokeballs so you can keep doing your plussing and your gachaing, right? How many Pokeballs do you want, though? I think over time, based on your personal location, where you're going, where you're playing, how much you're plussing and gachaing, if it's an event or not, you probably by now already have like an innate sort of working idea of how many Pokeballs you specifically need for your specific area to play in. If you're just not sure, though, I'd say 150 to 200 is a good place to dump down to. Now, if you feel 150 is a bit too much, you could skate to 100, but I've run into some situations where I was playing in a more Pokemon dense area that I'm not that familiar with, and I ended up hitting no Pokeballs because there were so many Pokemon, and I was just walking around, pushing my button, having a good time, and I caught all the Pokemon. I ran out of Pokeballs. So I'd say 150 to 200 is a good spot to dump down to if you're not already sure. Now, if you're not a Go Gacha, Go Plus type player, well, how many Pokeballs do you want to have on hand? I'd say together, Pokeball, Great Ball, and Ultra Ball, you'd probably want to have a reasonable limit of like 400, maybe 300 to 500, depending on what you all got going on. And that's a combination of all three ball types. Now, of course, if you've got a whole bunch of Ultra and a whole bunch of Greats, you really don't need the Pokeballs. How many Ultra and Great do you want? Well, I just said like 300 to 500. 500 being kind of a steep upper limit, right? Now, for the Go Plus, Go Gacha players that naturally have a bunch of Pokeballs kind of rolling for their auto catches, I'd say a combination of 300 would probably be a reasonable upper limit between your Great and your Ultra. Like 150 to 200 is a pretty good level for your Ultra Balls, and if you're at 300, well, what do you need the Great Balls for? But up until you have that higher upper limit of Ultra Balls, then it's kind of mindful to have some Great Balls on hand so you can, catch the things that aren't Ultra worthy. Just want to remind you, the 300 is like an upper limit. It's the max. You can go lower than that if you're going above 300 for Greats and Ultras combined. You're hanging on to too many balls there. Now, Pokeballs, that's easy. We get down to berries. Berries are also easy. You gotta dump all them nab-nabs out. We don't want no nab-nabs. They ain't worth nothing. Right, well, you don't want to throw them out if you can help it. Now, if you're in that knee-jerk situation, you don't want to dump any of your Pokeballs, you don't want to dump any other items, and you're hitting that upper limit and you've got like 170 nab-nabs and you just gotta get rid of them right now because you need some more bag space, then fine, dump them. But if you're mindful about it and you have some downtime, or maybe you go home and you notice you got a bunch of bananas, try to feed them out to gyms so you can get that Stardust. Now, I know it's only 20 Stardust per nab, but it builds up over time. It's that small trickle. And I'm just saying, if you're gonna throw out your bananas anyways, well, why not get some Stardust for it? As far as the raspberries go, they're also very dumpable, and also, feed into the gyms to get the Stardust. So you want to keep that same kind of strat, but I wouldn't go straight down to 0. Hanging on to 20 raspberries is pretty mindful. For a similar reason to hanging on to some Great Balls is mindful while you're trying to climb up in Ultra Balls, because it's like, what if you want a little extra bonus to your catch on that rare Pokemon, but it isn't quite Golden Razz worthy? It's that kind of scenario. 20 bag space, not that big of a deal. And now you got that little assurance, like, oh hey, it's a 200 CP wheel, Raspberry, Great Ball, A. Then we got the fun boys, the Pinap berries. I'm pretty sure most players like Pinap and things. And if you're not even level 40, I'm level 40. If you're not level 40, then you got a Pinap basically everything. So I'd say you're using Pinaps more than you're saving them to begin with. Now, if you find yourself in some situation where you're hitting the upper limit of your bag space and you already took out your Pokeballs and you already took out all the other berries, and you're looking at your Pinaps and you're like, should I get rid of some? I'd say a decent upper limit for your Pinaps are going to be about 100. I'd say a lower limit of 50. I really wouldn't want to be caught playing this game with less than 50 Pinaps if I didn't already spend them and I was trying to get more. Why am I going to hang on to these Pinaps? Well, of course, if you go hit up a nest, now you can nest hard. You don't even have to think about it. A nest on the fly. Talking about nesting on the fly, I actually went to a Whalmer nest with my girl this weekend. We had a blast, but it was complete spur of the moment. She's like, hey, I want to go to this park again. I like that park. Well, what's the nest? And I'm like, oh dang, it's Whalmer. I don't have a Wailord yet. So I was kind of glad that I had my 50 Pinaps on hand. I went down to about 12 at the end of our half-hour, 45-minute journey. But if I didn't have those Pinaps on hand, then I wouldn't have been able to climb to that 400 that much quicker during my time in the nest. Throw in, this is more of a premium item you can only get from raids, but since we're talking about berries, golden raspberries, there are people out there that raid like 1 billion times a day, and they've got more golden razzes than they know what to do with. And I can't give like perfect advice to everyone. I really wouldn't want to dump golden razzes because they're so valuable as far as being able to power up a gym defender to give someone a middle finger, or to maximize my raid bonuses by maintaining the gym. We all know at the end of the day it's about that ego, right? You can also use the golden razzes to basically assure your catches, right? So if you're pumping above 300 golden razzes, I'd say use them more liberally. And as far as when you want to be a little bit more mindful of your golden razz usage, it's kind of around when you hit about 100 to 150. I'd say that's like the reasonable lower limit, to the point where you want to be a little bit more mindful, maybe use them for your rare raid catches and your super rare Pokemon only. Maybe you keep your fingers in your fists today and just, you know, let somebody take the gym. Oh no. Above 200, you can be a little bit more liberal with your golden razzes, just so you're still getting the use out of them. You don't have to throw them away. But if you're rocking over 200, I think you got too many razzes. Now, just so I don't skip it, the easy part, the evolution items, yeah, you can toss them all if you already have the Pokemon. I like to hold on to 2, just so I always have the ability to evolve one of those Pokemon if I should want to at any given point in time. Let's say I catch the most perfect Slowpoke, and I evolve it into the most perfect Slowking, and then I immediately catch another most perfect Slowpoke. Well, what do I do then? Well, I'm glad I got 2. If you want to be extra scope into the future about the items you're holding, maybe have like 3 or 4 Sunstones and 3 or 4 upgrades. Reason being is in Gen 4, Porygon 2 evolves with the Dubious Disc, another item, right, to the Porygon Z. I don't know what kind of meta Gen 4 is going to have. We don't know if Porygon Z is going to be worthwhile, but if he is, you know, you don't want to be bottlenecked at the Porygon 2s because you didn't save a couple extra upgrades. But I think that's a little tinfoil in the hat there. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just hanging on to 2 should be fine. And then for the Sunstones, they're evolutions in, let me check my sheet, evolutions in Gen 5 and 6. So way out there. So you can hang on to them now. Who knows, the rates could change, and now all of a sudden Sunstone is super stupid rare, and oh man, Gen 5's at the door, and what are you gonna do then? So that could happen. Evo items, you can dump them all or hang on to a couple just in case. You got the fast TMs, you got the charge TMs. Now most players are already aware, but if you aren't, you can really just dump the heck out of your fast TMs. I'd dump down to maybe 10 to 20. I wouldn't go down to 0 ever, because if you get that rare, strong, hundo, whatever Pokemon, and it doesn't have the right fast move, well, of course you're going to want to use the fast TM on it. Now for charge TMs are so precious. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. As long as I've already done all the TMing that you need to do, I don't think you really need any more than like 60 to 70 range. If you do have more than that, maybe find ways to use them on rare, powerful, high IV Pokemon that you might power up in the future, so you just don't toss them, because who knows what's going to happen down the road. Maybe you do want to power up that 3rd Kyogre or something. Moving down the line of raid rewards, we have rare candies, and rare candy recommendation is actually pretty easy. I'd say reasonable upper limit of 200 to 300. If you got more than 300, maybe think about starting to breathe them off a bit into some worthy investments. Now the reason why I'm saying like 200 is, a pretty good lower limit is because that's the amount of candy it takes to take a level 20 Pokemon straight up to 40. So you always have that availability, that option on hand. And I'm putting 300 as the upper limit because what if I caught the Mewtwo and I powered up the Mewtwo all the way and then I got another EX pass and now I caught another Mewtwo and I want to power that one up right now. Well, I don't want to be stuck with 0 rare candy because I maxed out the other one, right? You don't want to be in that situation. So that's why I'm saying upper limit like 300. If you start going beyond that, those rare candies, man, they really eat at your bag. I'd say they're the silent killer of bag space. Time to talk about potions and revives. The stickiest topic in Pokemon Go, because we've been in this potion revive drought for months. many months, right? So the base tips I'm going to give you are actually pulled from my boy Bioweapon. I'll have this article linked in the description, but it's a potion revive management, how to save your potions. This article was written by Bioweapon. Bioweapon lives in a very population dense and hardcore area. So if anyone's feeling the potion drought heavy, it's going to be this guy. He's part of the Game Press team, and I really trust his recommendations on this. For me as a player, I'm a little bit more comfortable. I never really let myself get low on potions and revives. If I start to curb my habits. I start to gym less. I start to raid, a little bit like more reasonably during the week, so I don't end up in that situation, because I really don't like being in this scenario where I want to use an item but I can't because I don't have it. It really sucks. So I don't let myself get to that point, but Bioweapon does. So he's got the best tips for that, and if you're trying to find potion and revive advice, then you're probably looking for that. So a ratio that Bioweapon found using math, right, is you want to have a potion to revive ratio, and to clarify, this is any potion and just normal revives, not max revives. You want to have a normal revive to any potion ratio of 1 to 2. So 2 potions to every 1 revive. And the main reason for that is because if you're using a revive, you're for sure going to use a potion to heal them the rest of the way up. And if you're attacking a gym, often you won't need to use a revive. You'll switch out, you'll swap around. Maybe you'll even just completely clear the gym without even having to faint, so you can use a potion then. For saving potions and for saving revives, kind of helping you balance out your lifestyle, that's another topic for another video. I hope to have that one out tomorrow to help you guys kind of find ways to cut corners, save on potions and revives while playing Pokemon Go, so you aren't being sad at the Rayquaza raid having to throw out Blissies and Larions because everything else is fainted. It's awkward, right? So yeah, so item management tips. Once again, this is kind of like a skeleton, just a general guideline for you and your personal playstyle and your personal location, how many raids, how many gyms you do, and how much grinding you do and what your spawns are like. That's for you to decide. You can adjust this template as much as you want to. Some general advice with some tips. Play it as you want to for your own enjoyment, but if you're kind of like looking at your fast TMs and you're like, man, I got like 80 of these, yeah, Ryan Swag said it's okay to dump down to like 20 or 10. Now you can dump down to 20 or 10 and not even feel guilty about it. Now if you like this content, you want to see more of it, well then obviously subscribe, and then because algorithm nonsense, gotta like and comment too. Comment what your favorite color is, and then people will be very confused, like, what? Yeah, my viewer retention is like 50%, so like people will be extra confused, like, I love pink. Why'd you say that? SwagTips. If you don't have 50 Pinaps, then you're not a real Pokemon Go player. It's not like that, really.